They built a $200,000 bridge on my land. Then a storm exposed everything. The first time I saw bright orange stakes lining the creek behind my house, I figured the county had made a mistake. Nobody had contacted me about any construction, but someone had clearly started marking land that had belonged to my family for generations. My grandfather protected that creek his whole life, and every document I owned proved it was mine. The next day, I found an HOA newsletter celebrating something big, a brand new $200,000 pedestrian bridge crossing that very same creek. The picture looked beautiful. There was just one problem. That bridge was planned on my property, and nobody had ever asked me. I went to the next HOA meeting with my deed, my survey, and every document I had. Before I could even finish explaining, the HOA president cut me off and announced the project had already been approved months earlier. She said their attorney reviewed everything, and there was nothing to worry about. A few neighbors looked uncomfortable, but the board brushed off my concerns like paperwork didn't matter. Instead of arguing, I drove to the county records office the next morning. A clerk compared the HOA's plans with the current maps and noticed something off right away. The bridge proposal had been filed using an outdated survey. It didn't match the real property lines at all. A county engineer double-checked both maps and confirmed it. The bridge was planned to cross land the HOA didn't legally own. Before I left, he gave me one piece of advice: document everything, because construction might continue anyway. He was right. I hired a property attorney who reviewed every survey and permit. She warned that the HOA could face serious legal trouble if they ignored the correct boundaries. We sent them a formal notice. A few days later, construction crews showed up anyway, hauling in heavy equipment. On my attorney's advice, I stayed calm and recorded everything from my side of the fence while workers installed supports near the creek bank. As construction moved forward, loose soil started washing into the water. Not long after, county environmental inspectors showed up after getting complaints about erosion. They spent hours measuring the site and reviewing permits. I answered their questions honestly and handed over my survey. That same evening, the HOA president called an emergency meeting, brushing off the inspection as nothing more than a delay caused by unhappy homeowners. She never once mentioned what the county officials had actually found. The inspection report came back with bad news for the HOA, drainage problems, erosion issues, and a strong recommendation to pause construction until it was fixed. The HOA board voted to keep building anyway. Then spring storms rolled in. Heavy rain filled the creek fast, and the water slammed into the unfinished bridge supports. Because those temporary barriers blocked part of the channel, the water couldn't flow the way it naturally should have. Around this time, with help from my attorney and the county engineers, I got written approval to restore the creek's original drainage path, entirely on my own property. Every step was permitted and documented. Once the old channel reopened, the creek simply returned to flowing the way it had for decades. But the HOA's unfinished bridge and blocked channel sent all that stormwater somewhere else instead, straight into the community park. Within hours, the walking paths, picnic areas, and open lawns were underwater. Neighbors came out to watch as emergency crews closed off sections of the park, and county engineers rushed to inspect the site. It didn't take long to find the cause. Debris had piled up around the temporary supports, creating a blockage that trapped the water upstream with nowhere to go. A week later, the county released its findings. Unauthorized construction, an outdated survey, and poor erosion control had caused the flooding. The creek had behaved exactly the way it always had. The real problem was what the HOA built around it. At the next HOA meeting, homeowners demanded answers. Why were the inspections ignored? Why was the survey outdated? Why did costs keep piling up? Independent engineers backed up the county's findings completely, confirming the bridge was designed using bad property data and poor drainage planning. Under pressure, several board members resigned before the month was even over. Instead of dragging this through years of court battles, both sides agreed to mediation. The HOA admitted fault, agreed to remove the unfinished bridge, and promised to restore every part of the creek they damaged. All summer long, crews rebuilt the creek banks the right way, planting native vegetation and returning the land to its natural state. As the months passed, neighbors who once believed the HOA's story started stopping by to apologize after looking into public records themselves. A brand new HOA board was elected, and one of their first moves was requiring independent engineering reviews and direct homeowner notice before approving any future construction. Today, the creek looks almost exactly the way my grandfather remembered it decades ago. The park has proper drainage again. Families are back on the walking trails. And the whole neighborhood has finally moved on. I never wanted a fight. I just wanted my property respected, and the law followed. In the end, patience, solid documentation, and letting the facts speak for themselves accomplished far more than anger ever could. If you enjoyed today's story, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another true HOA story. And tell us in the comments, where are you watching from?